The private dining room at the Maple House restaurant buzzed with quiet laughter as friends gathered for what they called a surprise blind date. Most of them believed they were doing Ethan Brooks, a 32-year-old architect, a favor. Ethan had spent years focusing on work after losing his fiancée in a tragic car accident. His friends wanted him to smile again. But not everyone in the room had good intentions. A few guests secretly laughed among themselves. "We found the perfect blind date," one whispered. When the restaurant door opened, Grace Mitchell, a 29-year-old woman with a warm smile and a fuller figure, stepped inside wearing a simple emerald green dress. She looked nervous but hopeful. The whispering started immediately. "She doesn't look like his type. This is going to be awkward." One man quietly recorded the moment on his phone, expecting Ethan to reject her in front of everyone. Grace heard the comments but pretended not to. She had experienced moments like this her entire life. Taking a deep breath, she walked toward the table. Ethan stood as she approached. Everyone waited for the uncomfortable silence they expected. Instead, Ethan smiled warmly. "You must be Grace." She nodded shyly. "And you must be Ethan." He pulled out her chair before sitting down across from her. "It's nice to finally meet you." The room became strangely quiet. Throughout dinner, they talked about books, music, travel, and childhood dreams. Grace revealed she was an elementary school teacher who loved helping children overcome learning difficulties. Ethan shared stories about designing community libraries and parks. An hour passed quickly. The more they talked, the more they laughed. The people who had planned the prank exchanged confused looks. This wasn't supposed to happen. Finally, one guest couldn't resist interrupting. "Ethan," he smirked. "You know this whole thing was kind of a joke, right?" The room froze. Grace lowered her eyes. She had suspected it all along. Before anyone else could speak, Ethan slowly stood up. His calm expression surprised everyone. He looked around the room, then said something no one expected. "You didn't embarrass Grace tonight." He paused. "You embarrassed yourselves." Every conversation stopped. The laughter disappeared. No one knew what he was about to say next. Ethan looked around the room with quiet disappointment. "You invited a kind, intelligent woman here because you thought her appearance would be the punchline." No one dared interrupt. He turned toward Grace. "May I tell them something?" She nodded. Ethan faced the group again. "When I lost the woman I loved 5 years ago, I promised myself that if I ever opened my heart again, it would be to someone whose character made the world better, not someone who simply fit a beauty standard." The room was completely silent. He smiled gently at Grace. "Tonight I've met someone who spends every day helping children believe in themselves." He looked back at his friends. "Tell me, which one of us should really be admired?" Several guests lowered their heads. One woman quietly wiped away tears. Grace's eyes filled with emotion. For years she had been judged before anyone had taken the time to know her. Tonight was different. Ethan reached across the table. "If you're comfortable with it," he smiled, "I'd actually like this date to be real." Grace laughed through her tears. "I'd like that too." The room erupted, not with laughter this time, but with applause. The man who had been recording quietly put away his phone, ashamed of what he had planned to capture. Months later, Ethan and Grace continued seeing each other. They volunteered together at literacy programs, organized charity events, and supported one another through life's challenges. Whether or not they would spend forever together mattered less than what they had already proven. One evening, the same friends invited them to another dinner. This time, they apologized sincerely. Grace accepted with kindness. She understood that people could grow when they were willing to confront their own mistakes. As everyone shared dessert, Ethan raised a glass. "Here's to seeing people for who they truly are." Everyone smiled. Some with happiness, some with regret. and some with hope, because the lesson stayed with them long after the dinner ended. The quickest way to reveal someone's character isn't by looking at the person sitting across the table. It's by watching how they choose to treat them. That night, what began as a cruel joke became the moment an entire room learned that dignity, compassion, and respect will always outshine appearances.